Welcome to From the Tower, a podcast dedicated to the pride of EA Band by two band directors who have nothing better to do than record their after-school rambling.
We're back again. It's been a couple weeks, but the season's over. I'm David Gambino, Assistant Director of Bands over here at East Ascension, joined by Head Director Mr. Charles Lee. How are you?
I'm fine. Has it only been a couple of weeks? I feel like it's been like eons since the last time we did it.
It has. And along with Coach Brownfield, we have a special guest on the podcast with us today in Coach Brownfield's class, Miss Raylan Gotro, one of our color guard members. Hey, Raylan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good today, especially now that competition season and marching season is over.
Fantastic. Friday belongs to me.
Yes. And we hate it for our football team, obviously, but it is nice to have a break and to get to move into the things that we like with the concert season and the concert aspect.
You don't
of
like
things.
marching band?
Hey,
I love marching band.
It's a little bittersweet, though. Huh?
Very
Wouldn't
much
you
so.
say? I mean, I definitely.
You know, like people ask me all the time, which one's your favorite? And the only way I can really answer that is like, it depends on where I'm at in the season.
Yeah.
You know, so like by the end of marching season, I hate it. I'm ready for concert season. By the end of concert season, I'm bored and I'm ready for marching season. And it's
Yeah.
like this whole cyclical love-hate thing.
Very much so. I like when I'm in it. I like the marching season while I'm in it. I like the concert season while I'm in it. You know, I like preparing for
Right.
the other one. You know, whichever one's coming up. Like if we're coming to the end of marching season, I really look forward to preparing for concert season. If we're coming to the end of concert season, like you said, I really look forward to preparing for.
And I think the worst is the tail end of either season when everything's learned, you've rehearsed it 1,000 times, and all you can really do is rep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Because I feel like I'm not getting creatively satisfied at that point. We're just doing it.
Raylan, what about for you? You know, we're moving into winter guard season now, and also you're a concert percussionist now. So, what about you? What do you prefer, marching over concert season, or what's your bag?
When I first joined, I was like, oh yeah, I like color guard. It's my favorite. And then I tried winter guard, and I liked that better because it was more calm. But then I go back to color guard, and I'm like, but I like this. So I like both of them.
Right.
It's like you said, it's that cyclical effect of like we love them all when we're in it, and then when we're wishing for the other one at the same time.
And each thing, you know, like answers a specific part of your brain and your creative side of stuff. You know, there are things that I can do in marching band that I can't do with
Correct.
and vice versa. You know, so imagine color guard and winter guard is the same thing, huh? Really?
Yes.
All right, so let's hop into our downbeat. We're going to talk more about our season in just a few minutes, but we got a couple of things happening and beginning to happening now. This year, the band is starting the BFFL, the Band Flag Football League, and we are in the heat of picking out our schedules and getting all of our teams assigned and things like that. I have a team that I'm coaching myself. And we've got a lot of other students that are involved in their own teams too. And it's an exciting thing for us.
Yeah. It kind of started off as like this weird just idea. One of the drum techs we had over the summer who's in Tiger Band says that's something that they do postseason, and it's just
didn't know that.
Yeah, and so we just kind of started talking about it, and then like most ideas, it kind of snowballed, and then we kind of got into it, and we started looking it up, and next thing you know, I'm on the NFL website finding their official rule book, and I'm printing it out and binding it up and handing it out.
Now we've bought footballs and a flag and 2 flag sets, and we're getting ready to start this thing up. So we'll have some more news about the BFFL coming soon, but also we're like we said, we're moving into concert band season now. December 15th is our winter concert. Hope everybody's there at 6:30 in the cafeteria. You'll see a lot of great things from there, but we'll also be moving into the other part of the concert season when we get to January and festival and things like that. We're also moving into honor band season. In fact, next weekend is the All-State Honor Band, which we have 4 students that made the All-State Honor Band. All 3 of our drum majors, Caden, Cole, and Colin, and as well as our trombone section leader, Bo, have all made the All-State Honor Bands.
Well, Bo made orchestra.
Well, I meant collectively,
Right.
All-State. Oh, come on. I know what I'm talking about.
It's a trombone. I just played it because it's a trombone.
There you go. Very nice.
Bo would appreciate that.
Bo would definitely appreciate that. So we're excited for them. Looking forward to going to see those concerts. I will be performing at the All-State Conference as well with the LAJE Reading Band, which is some of the best band directors in the state get together to read jazz band music and like kind of advertise them for the next year. And it's a killing band this year. I'm really looking forward to sitting in and playing with those guys. I was president of LAJE at one point in time and was an active member. I kind of focused on our stuff for a little while. Now I'm kind of getting back into it. And also, like I mentioned, Winter Guard. Raylan, do you want to tell us a little bit about Winter Guard?
Winter Guard is a competition team, and we have JV and varsity. And instead of being with the band, we travel places to just do competition with Guard.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
It's a lot of fun, and it's the more lyrical side of Guard. You know, like marching band is all about flag and how high you can toss the rifle and like being, you know, precision with the band and organizing it like that. And Winter Guard gets more into the dance side of things, and the costuming is maybe a little bit more elaborate or more detailed, and it's in a gym, so it's not outside.
Yes.
And you know, and the focus is on y'all because there's no band. It's
Correct.
recorded. You know, it's
There is music, right? There's
Yeah,
music.
no, there's totally music. It's all recordings, you know, that we get permission to use and that sort of thing. And
Oh,
it's-
that would be really impressive to have an entirely silent Winter Guard show. That'd
That's
be
what I
cool.
was thinking. Just
I'm
Actually-
sure, I know somebody's done it. You know,
I'm sure, but that would be kind of cool. But yeah, they get to show off their artistic side with the flags and sabers and rifles and dance and you know all that kind of stuff without the band there, because in marching band, you know, you guys are kind of the visual element, the extra visual
Correct.
element that frames and goes through us and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and our I know one of our I'm blanking on the other theme. Maybe you can help me, Raylan. I know one of our themes is Aretha Franklin this year. That's the varsity theme.
Yeah.
What was the JV theme? I'm blanking on it.
I see the light. I forgot the
Oh
name.
yeah,
It's
At Last I See the Light from
Yeah.
Tangled.
I was really hoping that Raylan was going to look at you and say, "What? That's the thing I didn't know." But
No, they were all there when it happened. Yeah, so those are our two themes this year. Really, really excited about that. Really looking forward to that. So, with that being said, let's jump into our segment and our big topic for the day: show news.
Show news.
Guess what, Raylan? You got to say show news.
Oh, show news.
There we go. That's a play off of the New Heights New News for all of you Jason Kelsey fans out there. But our show news, guys, it's done. Our season's done. We're done. And I think it went
Well-
great. What do you guys think?
Well, almost done. We have
Ooh.
one last step.
What's our last step?
Well, we are working on getting the final edits and audio syncs from Kinsey, Miss Andrews' daughter, so we can upload the submission to Metallica.
Yep, for the contest. So, as most of you know that have been listening to the podcast, and those of you that are just tuning in, where you been? But we've entered a Metallica marching band contest, trying to win $25,000. 10,000 of that is going to be helped by all of you listening, and we'll get to that explanation in a minute. But we're going to submit that video within the next couple of days, and you know, by January we should hear if we've won or not, and we kind of feel like we have a good shot at it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I feel like out of all the shows that we've done previously, the band has had more buy-in with this show.
Yeah.
I of course have had way more buy-in for this show.
Yes.
And look, you know, and I'm gonna be honest. I told the kids this. They played so well at the last halftime performance when
Yeah.
we did the recording. I almost don't care if we win now because that was so good and so impressive
Yep.
with the yell leaders getting everyone to stand up and the crowd interaction. It was definitely a moment that doesn't happen often, and
Absolutely.
the energy was high and it was
Big
exciting.
shout out to our yell leaders that helped us out and were a big part of our success for sure this year. We very much appreciate that. And the Guard performed outstanding. The band performed outstanding. Yeah, we truly had a blast with the season this year. And like you said, the recording, we've got all this great footage. I don't know what happened to me in the press box when I started announcing but some rock and roll demon just kind of jumped in there. And if you watch our show, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I was sitting there, and then when you did it, I started laughing. Like, I didn't know it was you at 1st.
Mm-hmm. It was,
Yeah, I was right behind him, and I had no idea that was coming. I knew it was going to be something, and I knew I definitely didn't want to do it, and I was the backup. So I was, as soon as it started coming out, I was like, I'm really, really glad I'm not doing this because I couldn't do whatever this is right here.
If you watch the Rev broadcast of it, the moment I start up, everybody in the stands just like turns around and like, what in the heck is going on back there? So it's pretty great.
Yes, it was just what was needed. The Rev broadcast is very good. If you want to watch it now, you're listening to this, go to YouTube, pull up the Rev broadcast of the touchdown game.
Yep.
Go to halftime, and it's right there. We did it in class the other day. It was great. It was really cool to watch.
And,
Awesome.
and as soon as we get the submission uploaded, we'll send that link too. And actually, you can go to the Metallica contest site and you can see all the other submissions, and you kind of see who we're up against.
For whomthebandtolls.com is the link to get to go watch the shows. And starting November 17th, you'll be able to go watch our show and vote for it. And right now, we're the only Louisiana band. So if we can get all of the bands in Louisiana, all the schools in Louisiana, everybody, especially in our area, on board to, hit that like button, hit that, whatever the vote button is, we have a really good shot at least winning $10,000 from the fan vote. Then on top of that, we really think our show is that competitive. And if you go look at our competitions, I think that you can see from every competition, from Thibodaux to Dutchtown to Northwestern, the progression and improvement that we've made. Some of the scores may not reflect like that in the upward tick, but the numbers do. In we might go up from have a 1 here, but a 2 here. But if you look at those numbers, if you look at the improvements, like every competition we improved, and then we improved even more for that last week for the taping of the show.
Right. And even though our show doesn't really lend to how the judging is scored, how the judges' sheets are laid out for all of these competitions, we still scored well, but I feel like at least one judge at every competition made a comment of, man, this is really energizing. This is really exciting. And one even said, I feel like this is a college band show, which in the end, our whole goal this year was to use those competitions as checkpoints to make it all the way to the last recording for halftime. How do you feel like your progression as a performer went, really?
Last year, I felt like I could improve. And then this year, I look back on last year and I was like, whoa. Because I really improved with my tosses and free hands and stuff like that. And just as a performer and smiling.
So how do you think you did? How did you progress just this season by itself from the beginning, from band camp until now?
Band camp, I feel like with my marching was one big thing. Like backwards marching, I wasn't very good at the beginning. And then as we got more through the show, I back marched a lot. So I really improved with that and more on my toes.
Right.
Yeah, it forces you to, every year something forces you to work on a specific skill, And Raylan was in the back a lot. She had to go like all the way over one side then back. And so there was definitely a lot of back marching for Color Guard this year with the shape of the show. Speaking of, you talked about score sheets in a minute. Next podcast, we're going to do a deep dive into a competition score sheet. One of the Louisiana Marching Band, score sheets or the Central State Judging Association's score sheets, and talk about where we succeed in the types of judging that's out there, the types of marching band shows, and how ours compare with it, and do a deep dive. So if you're interested in figuring out why we score, how we judge things, how things are judged, then tune into that episode, and you can listen to us go into a deep dive and maybe getting Coach Brownfield involved in teaching him how to understand what a crazy marching band score sheet looks like and what they're looking for in that. Yep. All right, our next topic for today: civilian questions. Today, Caden Gautreaux caught us with a question. He asked, "Mr. Gambino, can the drummers that play with the band actually play drum set?" And it's a good question because you watch these guys and they can move on the field, to some extent, and they play and they're using their hands, and it would look like similar concepts, but the reality is they're very different instruments. Number one in approach, but also in ability. sometimes it's hard enough to get these kids to chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. So imagine getting them to walk and play drums.
Right.
Then when you're sitting down at a drum set, you have your right hand is different from your left hand. Your right leg is different from your left leg. And then your hands and legs are completely independent of one another, you know, entirely. You know, if you're looking like traditional drum set, like a rock and roll kind of thing, you know, your right hand is on the hi-hat, keeping some kind of steady beat. Your left hand is on the snare, accentuating certain things. Your right foot is on the bass drum, you know, playing with the bass guitar normally. And then your left foot is either matching that by playing bass drum well or controlling that hi-hat. So you got 4 different
Or playing opposite.
Or playing opposite, yeah. You got 4 different instruments happening simultaneously. Whereas when you're playing drums, like, you know, like snare or bass drum or tenor drums or even cymbals, you're playing one of those things.
Right.
So now we basically take all that marching stuff, put it in one thing, and that's how the drum set was invented anyway. They used to have marching percussion units, and they, you know, it came about with jazz bands, and when jazz bands started sitting down, they didn't want to pay as many people, so they just kind of schlepped it all together, wrapped a couple ropes around it, and one guy would literally kick the bass drum, you know, hit the cymbals with his hands or whatever tools he had, you know, and hit a snare drum to create essentially like a marching groove on a drum set. So to answer your question, the short version, Caden, is some of them can because they practice it, but just because you play snare drum or bass drum or tenor drums doesn't mean that you can translate directly to drum set.
You know, it's almost like, you know, you might be able to throw a football 20 yards, but you can't necessarily throw a fastball with a baseball.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a ball, you're still throwing, but it's two completely different skill sets.
Or even like you might be a really great quarterback, but you can't catch the ball to save your life, you know. All right. Now on to gearheads. We're going to do a quick gearhead real quick, and we want to talk about I want to talk about our newest piece of equipment this year is our Presonus Series 3 32SX soundboard. It is marvelous and glorious. If you don't know what a soundboard is, it's basically everything, you know, the console that you plug all the mics into. And we got it brand new this year because the old one shocked me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
We've
reverb.
been kind of having problems with it.
Well, yeah, reverb's been shocked by it a lot, but we starting to plug mics into the old soundboard, and next thing I'm like, God, what? Getting bit by the electricity bug. So the cool thing about the soundboard, well, one, Presonus is a local company that's now international.
Yes.
They're right down the road on Highland in Baton Rouge, and they create some stellar digital products.
Right.
You know, it's able to take sound and turn it into digital electronic signals that is used and transmitted out through speakers to create a crystal clear sound. It's automated. It's completely automated, so I can take my iPad, hook it up to the soundboard, go stand 20 yards away, move a slider on the iPad, and you can watch it move on the soundboard.
Yep, the sliders are totally motorized.
Mm-hmm.
So you have setting after setting after setting.
That's really cool.
And it
really
comes with all
cool.
the preloaded sounds and, you know, effects panels and different EQs for different instruments, and they have gobs and gobs of them online that you can download and just save onto your board. I think that's my favorite setting is I can move the sliders where I want, I can set the EQs where I want, and then hit save, and it stays there. Like literally the sliders, like I can turn the board off and all the sliders will go down. When I turn it back on and hit recall, they all go right back to where they were.
That is beautiful.
Because, you know, the problem you have, like with the old board, for example, you know, it doesn't just stay put. It's on a cart. We make all the settings, and then, you know, we have a loading crew or our alternates or whoever's setting everything up, and sliders get moved and things get bumped and things get, you know, out of whack. This really helps kind of mitigate that because you just push a button, it goes right back where you wanted it.
Yes. I've taken many pictures of boards so I could go back and replicate it when I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot harder than just pressing a button.
Oh yeah. And the other cool part is it's a 32 channel board. So you can put 32 microphones into it, but it's the size of a 16 channel board.
Yeah.
And they have just they have settings to, like, you have 16 channels right here, you push the arrow key and it's on to the next 32. And it combines it with another set of sliders on the right that either are channel 17, 18, 19, and 17, 18, 19, 20, or they're your auxiliary sliders that you can use for, groupings or effects or whatever.
And I don't even think we've really dove into everything that board can do. We just kind of have it set up for what we needed at that moment
Correct.
to get us to the end of the season. And so I'm sure it's way more capable of.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to spend a ton of time EQing and things, but we just really didn't have that this year. So
I'm pretty sure PreSonus has a YouTube channel.
They do.
And I'm sure other people, like PreSonus is definitely, it has stepped up. Like it is a newer player in the audio game, but I've had people recommend PreSonus who weren't even from around. I know local people might be a little biased to it, but I've had people recommend PreSonus stuff who weren't even, had nothing to do with Louisiana.
I know whenever I used PreSonus equipment when I was gigging with my band before I became a band director, and I was using a compressor for my bass rig, and the dial or the gauge went bad. And back then, their office was in an old store in the Cortana Mall. And so I just walked in there with the thing, and they're like, oh, hey, they're super nice guys, and they helped me. They're smaller, 20 years ago than they are now, and helped me out. And, they didn't fix it that day, but, but I thought it was really cool that, like, some equipment that I was using was homegrown here, and I was able to just walk up and talk to somebody.
It's awesome. All right, now for one of our favorite segments on the show, What's on Your Playlist? This is where we take a look at and talk about the things that are on our playlist. And let's start with our special guest today. Raylan, what you been listening to recently?
A lot of stuff.
Okay, what's a lot of stuff?
I don't know. I've been liking this one artist that my friends recommended me, Wave to Earth.
Okay. What kind of stuff is it?
It's like slow. I don't know how to explain it. It's like slow, soft songs. I like songs that are soft and like, I don't know.
Like mood setting or, kind of spacey or...
It's like in the middle. Like I like slow, soft songs, and I like upbeat, energetic dance songs.
Yeah, you're a very upbeat and energetic person, so I can see where that part comes in. But I can also see where the nice, kind of relaxed thing comes in. Yeah, like this.
Yes, I like this song. And then there's a few others that I like. I listen to old music sometimes. When my mom plays on the radio songs.
She's
I'll
going to say
sometimes-
old music, and she's going to talk about the 80s, and I'm going to have a heart
Or the
attack.
90s.
Don't say Nirvana. Please don't say Nirvana.
I have like 2 Michael Jackson songs on my playlist, I think.
Oh, man. He was like, it was like 1970 when he got started.
Well,
so
yeah,
that's okay.
but most people, she's probably talking about 80s Michael Jackson
No, definitely. Or 90s.
or 90s. Are we getting to that point, Brownfield?
Yes,
where,
yes,
like-
we are.
Yeah, the 90s were 30 years ago.
Yes.
I
so
know.
when you turn on
I
Eagle
just
98.1 now,
I just turned 33 the other day. I know.
it's Nirvana, it's Soundgarden, it's all that. And I hear that, and I'm like, this is the wrong station. Something's wrong with the station,
Yeah, the golden oldies.
And
we're playing this 1990s hit from Nirvana.
Yeah, but like for people now, when we were their age, that was like Elvis, man. Like Elvis was 30 years ago. So, yeah,
There's a
we're here.
really great TikTok person, influencer, whatever, that does NPR in 30 years, and she was like, "Up next on NPR, apple bottom jeans." And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what NPR is going to be like one day. It's just going to be all these rap tunes and things like that. So for me, my playlist has been full of concert band material, kind of prepping for concert band, but jazz band Christmas music. And I am one of those people that I do not listen to Christmas music until after Thanksgiving.
Boo.
I'm a November baby. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, with Christmas and then Halloween being close seconds and thirds. So I do not listen to Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. Like the moment you finish Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner, you better put that Perry Como Christmas CD on, and I'm listening to it. But this is the point of year where I have to break that a little bit, because I'm preparing for jazz band concerts or whatever. And so the Air Force Band has a really killing version of "Oh Christmas Tree" that I've been listening to. Oh, dude, that's it.
The day after Halloween, I started listening to All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yes. And we're actually surrounded by Christmas decorations right now in my
are.
classroom. Yes, November 1st. November 1st
Including-
is
Almost
when
like a
Christmas
dorm room in
begins.
here.
Barry and Jerry on the walls over there. Mr. Lee, how about you? What's on your playlist?
Other than Metallica,
Yes.
Well, I'm doing the same thing. I'm listening to concert band tunes. I'm listening to Christmas tunes for the Christmas concert as well. Having to put together a festival concert and an end of the year spring concert. So I'm listening to a bunch of that stuff. I'm now officially the Mariachi Espartanos have started rehearsals now, and so I'm looking for mariachi music for us to play for Christmas, hopefully. And then also music, for them to play beyond Christmas and that kind of stuff. So I'm listening to a bunch of mariachi and concert band music right now.
Coach Brownfield, what you got?
Guys, y'all are all wrong.
Uh-oh.
The Beatles released a new song
That's right.
Oh, that's
I did
right.
see that.
this week. The
I haven't
Beatles
listened to
after
it.
but it was AI
60
though, wasn't it?
No. That's a common misconception.
Oh,
AI was used to extract John Lennon's authentic voice from a very old cassette recording.
Gotcha.
But there was no alteration to his voice, and there were no mimicking of voices, and the other voices are real Beatles from today. So yeah, it was like 61 years after their first single, the Beatles released like an actual.
God,
It's on Apple Records. It's
years.
officially the Beatles, and I think it's going to hit number 1 in the UK, and it actually replaced Taylor Swift on Spotify last week for a day. So and it's a great song. Very very minor key heavy there. We go a little A minor, B minor, E minor.
Ooh.
Yeah. So John Lennon takes us on a
Harmonic
minor,
But
journey
we'll have
through
to
the minor.
explain to Coach Brownfield what that actually is whenever we're done.
Yes.
Yes, please do that.
All right. So upbeat. What's coming up? Okay. On our upbeat, we've got like I mentioned, All-State coming up. We've got Winter Guard tryout dates, which are November 27th, 28th, 29th, and the clinic is on the 30th coming up. So if you're interested in Winter Guard, get involved with that. Concert Wins. My band is going to have auditions on December 6th. Okay? And then District Honor Band auditions are coming up, which is
The 9th of December.
the 9th of December. So, guys, we've got a lot of great stuff ahead of us. Even though marching season's over, we're moving into that next period of adventure with concert season and lots of great things.
And no Christmas parade.
And no Christmas parade. Guys,
Officially.
Raylan, thank you so much for being with us. Coach Brownfield, thank you as always. And
course.
from the Pride of EA, we thank you for joining us.
See
We'll
y'all
see you next
later.
time.
Bye bye.